Manchester City beat Arsenal 3-1 at the Emirates, and the title favourites is firmly in Manchester now. And maybe even Man United, but no, I'm joking. Manchester City have schooled Arsenal there, and it's not a result I wanted. I would have preferred a draw. But you look at this league table next to me now, and you tell me Manchester City aren't favourites for this title. In the space of a week, since that Everton loss, that Brentford draw, and tonight, Man City are now top of the league. Yes, Arsenal have got a game in hand, but they've got to go to the Etihad at some point. Their next two games are Villa and Leicester away. I think there's a very big danger now that Man City, by the back end of March, mid-April, they'll probably be 10 points clear. And Arsenal's title hopes will be a distant memory. If Arsenal are to win this league now, they have got to go and do something that nobody expected them to do, which is win the league from a position of, doubt. They've been in a position of strength. I believe they had a hand on the title, and for some reason it slipped. There's many reasons why that is. I think the Arsenal title dream is over at this moment in time. They've almost got to go on a run again and prove that they can win it again. And they've got to find that way. They've got to, because next season, I don't think Arsenal can dust themselves down and go, we go again next season. Liverpool will be back. Chelsea might be back. Man United might be better. Newcastle might be better. Man City will still be there. In this league, you can be fighting for the title one year, you can be down to fifth the other. Arsenal have got to pick themselves up. But I think it's not a shock where we are here. I look at Arsenal today, and Nketiah could and probably should have scored a hat-trick. It's not his fault. I'm not even an Arsenal fan. I've seen this with Garnacho at United. I don't want to see Arsenal fans throwing Nketiah, a young player, under the bus. He's come in and done a wonderful job. He played brilliant against United a couple of weeks ago. He's done a brilliant job. It's not his fault that he's playing up front with the responsibility of scoring goals in a game like that at the highest level when he's not ready to do it. He's a work in progress. He may never be good enough. If they've got Jesus, they probably win against Brentford at the weekend, and they probably win tonight. The three chances that fell to Nketiah, the two headers, they've got to be goals. They've got to at least be on target, but they've got to be goals. And that's the fine lines. You look at that Man City team, you look at that bench, you look at that Arsenal team, you look at that bench and you go, that was the difference. And the manager, which we'll talk about in a minute. But the chances were there for Arsenal. I think the better, more experienced team deserved to win, and they did win. But Arsenal can look at that game and go, you know what? We did have the chances. And you add into that, two players who let the team down tonight, Gabriel and Tomiyasu. Gabriel, he ain't good enough. If you want to win the league, he ain't good enough. If you win the league with Gabriel in your back four, everyone else has done a big job. He is an Everton centre-back. He is not a top four centre-back for me. I wanted him at United when he was back playing in France. I think he's got a mistake in him. It was so obvious that Man City in the second half, they instigated the press. And he still kept trying to pass out from the back even though he couldn't do it. What's he doing? He gave a penalty away. Luckily, it was offside. What's he doing on the Haaland goal? He sees him, he leaves him. Haaland gets to take a touch and pass it in the bottom corner. He could probably do that first time with one touch. You can't be giving him that space. At this level, there are mistakes. Tomiyasu in the first half, mistake. You can't make mistakes against a team like that. So even though I feel that Pep did masterclass his apprentice, Arteta, you can still look at that as an Arsenal fan and go, those goals should have been scored, those mistakes shouldn't have been made. It could have easily been a draw, but it's a win for Manchester City and they deserved it, which was overarched and summarised by the brilliance of Pep Guardiola and the naivety and inexperience of Arsenal and Arteta, which was totally understandable. I mean, this is not a criticism. The fact that Pep Guardiola and Man City schooled Arsenal with experience and know-how is not a surprise. They've got the better players, they've got the better squad, and they're going for three Premier Leagues in a row, and they are very, very wealthy. There is no surprise there. Arsenal were always the underdogs, but you know what? For the first half, I thought they were the better team. But so many times in football, if you're not leading from being the better team at half time, the second half, a decent manager will completely change the game plan. In the first half, Man City, I think their job was tactically to be stubborn, slow the game down, and make it hard for Arsenal to create chances. And City had 60% possession. Sorry, Arsenal had 60% possession. In the second half, Man City went on the front foot. The press was very high. They were forcing Arsenal to play through, and Arsenal were making mistakes. And Man City were the better side. Pep Guardiola got it absolutely spot on. He made that substitution where he took Mahrez off and he brought Akanji on and they went to the back four. It's a funny one because Man City completely deserved to win that, and you can see how they did it, and Pep masterminded it really, really well. But the frustrating thing for Arsenal will be, as they're walking home or listening or whatever, will be, oh, we've just done what Arsenal do, we're not ready, this, that and the other. But then you watch it back and you go, we should have scored there, we should have scored there, we should have scored there, we shouldn't have played that stupid pass back, we should have marked better there. And I think ultimately, Man United went to the Emirates a few weeks ago without Casemiro, and United fans all said, if we had Casemiro, we'd have got a result. We lost 3-2 with a late winner. And Arsenal fans said, wow, that's football. Pardon the pun. That's football. You know, it's a squad game. People get suspended. Well, I'm telling you now, if Arsenal had Partey today, I don't think they lose the game. And the answer I could say is, that's football. You know, injuries happen. It's not, it is football, but it's the difference. If Man City lose a player like Rodri, they've got 4 or 5 players that can come in and do it, because that's the squad Pep Guardiola's got. If Man United lose Casemiro, he's irreplaceable. If Arsenal lose Partey, he's irreplaceable. And I think that's what you're up against. Everybody's up against this. Liverpool have been trying to fight it for the last few years. Man United, Arsenal are trying to fight it now. You are fighting a juggernaut. You are fighting arguably the best manager in the world with the best squad in the league. And we saw it the other week. What was the game the other week? I think it was Chelsea. Very equal game. And he brings on £150 million worth of talent and they win the game. And Chelsea had an injury crisis at the time. Man City have got the tools, they've got the manager, they've got the know-how, and they've got the experience. And that's how they won it today. And I'll tell you for free, if Nketiah's chances had landed to Haaland, he'd have scored every single one of them. And if you've got those differentials, and I tell you for free, if Gabriel was Diaz, he wouldn't have allowed Haaland to make that third goal. And that's the difference. You look at that Arsenal team, they've done fantastically well, and they should be very proud, and Arteta's doing a really good job, and you've exceeded expectation, and you've deserved to be where you are. But in the cold light of day tonight, you can see the difference. It's a quality gap, it's an experience gap, and Man City will probably go and win this title now. I'd be very surprised if they didn't. However, is the title dream over for Arsenal? Well, it's over if you want it to be. It's over if you want it to be. If you want it to be over, it's over. If you want to fight and go for it and defy logic and give it a go, it's not. And that starts with the game against Aston Villa on Saturday. Away to Aston Villa and then away to Leicester. If Arsenal take 6 points from that, there's a chance. I don't think there's 100. I think it's 50-50 whether they'll do that. Because psychologically, they've taken 1 point from 9. Their confidence is on the floor. Losing at the Emirates against Man City will be a massive, massive problem. But this is what it's all about. Will this be the end of the Arsenal journey? Have Arsenal hit the peak and now it's on the way down? It would be such a shame. Because you're so young. You should be at the start of your journey. Arsenal's challenge now is to not let this setback turn into a collapse. Because if you do, Gary Neville will be right. Arsenal will finish third and Man United will come through. And that's the challenge Arsenal have got now. They've got to find a way to pick themselves up. They've got to find a way to get back to what they were doing. They've got to stop feeling sorry for themselves. And youth can be petulant. Youth can be feeling sorry for itself. And that's the challenge now. I think at times today, Arsenal lost the game because they're inexperienced and Man City are experienced. It's over. Today was not the day to give the title out. Regardless, your job's a lot harder, but it's not over. You win your game in hand, you're still top again. And they've got to get that mentality back. Man City are favourites now. If Arsenal had won, 9 points clear with the game in hand. They're now... 6 points clear with the game in hand. They're now level with the game in hand. They've really got to pick themselves up. As for Man City, get hit with 100 charges, go and take 6 points. They don't care. They'll have used that to galvanise themselves. They are the favourites now. Get your comments in. Smash a like on the video. I'll speak to you on the next one.